Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Wednesday, February 24th, 2021. And today's topic is called Sky Tracks. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening February 19th through the 22nd, 2021. And before we get into those observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, hao, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobro honya, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, and guten dag. And today's starter image is just of some wordplay game board results, and we always play with the criteria, actually not for points at all. And we just use positive or neutral words wherever possible as far as the energy behind them. And just have a look and see if any words pop out to your particular attention, and let that be your word of the day, or maybe it's a little sign that you were looking for today. Anyway, let's get going in with the sky observations. Now, the first slide up is called Strange Cloud and Quote Activity and Light Source. And actually, before I keep rolling with that, I'd just like to say a big heartfelt thanks if you're returning to the channel or if you're new. A big welcome to you. If you are new, I refer to photos coming up as originals or enhanced photos. When I say enhanced, I simply mean I've edited attributes of the photos such as color, saturation, brightness, contrast, things of that nature. And in this case, I also occasionally will identify things with some letters just to, better guide you through the slide and guide you along to look at what I'm looking at a little bit easier. When I also talk about cloud and quotes activity, I'm referring to stuff that does not look like natural cloud, and in more cases than not is also a form of cloaking material for cloaking craft. Now, these craft may be extraterrestrial technology. They could be man-made, human-made technology or collaboration, something of that nature. But regardless, it's advanced tech that's cloaking in a number of ways. So when I do say the craft or cloaking craft, it might be something 3D, so very three-dimensional material, tactile, you could knock on it type of thing. Or it could be something interdimensional, or something cloaking in yet another way we just don't understand, or something phasing in and out of dimension. Anyway, all that said, let's get going. So we're going to look at this, at first glance, just see some kind of weird tower forming, activity back here, or just, some type of cloud form that's very different than this happening in front of it. And also the light source is looking a little strange because we are looking southeast at a sunrise. So we're going to take a look with some enhancement. And here we go. We've got some color welling up, so that's where the sun is trying to rise with something blocking right in front of it, the cloud material. But then look at this consistency in here. It's all kind of choppy. There seems to be some movement happening in there. When we see some really fuzzy, blurry clouds up in the sky, I think we're going to run into examples of those, and they look a little blurry, but everything else is, clear. Even to the human eye, things look a little choppy and fuzzy. I call those staccato clouds, and usually it means there's electromagnetic wave activity happening above, which is causing atmospheric disturbance or something of that nature. In this case, it just seems something is really disturbing this whole little installation or assembly here. So that usually tells me there's craft cloaking because of that movement. Also, when we look at 8.1 and B.1, we just see some strange activity kind of popping off the rim. And if you see some other shows I've done, such as Rim Watching 2, there's a host of others. I've been noticing craft that seem to be cloaking craft perched on the rim of some clouds, and then they just, take off, and you can see the trail, and some are more pronounced and obvious than others. In this case, there's little white points, and I talk about that on other shows as well, when there's like a sea of gray or solid color, and then you just see some bright white or crystalline points. That always tells me there's something going on of cloaking nature, of a cloaking object or craft. Anyway, we'll zoom in on that A and B points, those A and B letters, a little more, and we just see some really dark solid activity with some bright white next to it, a little bit of shadow at that point, and some weird kind of, what I call this is plasma as cloaking material. Now, that's just going to be my go-to when I talk about cloaking material. It could be made of something else. I'm just talking about something a little denser than just water vapor that would be in clouds. So there you go. And then here again, this is just looking very strange just to be typical cloud or something wisping off a cloud. And again, why would this be, movement of this billowing upward while, this is hugging close to the rim, and really everything should just be static. It was not a windy day. Anyway, those are just some questions I have. Here we go. This is more strange cloud and quotes activity cloaking objects. We're going to look at A and B. So now we get, some weird cloud movement coming through. And I just say weird because, we've got different densities. We've got different angles of things floating up beyond. But anyway, something starts to look strange in here with like two specific bright points. And then this has what looks like to be a vertical, a couple of vertical parallel lines. So it just seems a little odd and worth investigating more with some enhancement. And I really didn't get at too much more other than what's strange too is the distribution of the warmer tone supposedly coming up from the sunrise. It's not just a even beam. It's kind of streaked and spotty in places, and it doesn't reach up here where it would. So just something's very strange going on behind all of that cloud unquote activity. All right, so we're going to zoom in one more time and just try to get a look at these points. So I'm calling that a cloaking craft because these aren't natural, these don't occur in nature, and it's not a plane, it's nothing human-made, or at least nothing of basic tech. And then we've got very clear lines here, very straight edges. We've got what looks like some cloaking material, plasma, kind of fuzzy floating in front of this thing. Comes down to a point. There's shadow to this thing. Something strange here too, looks like it has structure to it, and here too, because you just see very straight line with some shadow. So I'm going to call it and just say there's cloaking craft going on all over the place in here. This looks like maybe even a bigger assembly with a piece here and a piece, off here with some structure to it. Here it even looks like a hole at the end of whatever thing is happening here. So I believe this is a part of a bigger body that's even cloaking back in and behind this cloud. But see what you think. Okay, this one gets very interesting. This is called Second Sun in quotes, Triangular and Other Cloaking Craft. So I came out of a store, and as you see on the left is the original photo, and I just see, this is to the naked eye, just see these dark triangular masses, right? Which I'm going to call cloaking material, not just cloud material. Then beyond we have what looks more like cloud material, but look at the odd pattern. We've got this ripple work, showing that there's definitely some type of wave activity happening above, so I'm just going to call it electromagnetic wave activity. We got blurred figure coming in and out here. Looks like a cloaking craft of some type. And just look at this overall movement. It sweeps down on a curve while this other cloud activity is doing something else. Again, it was not a windy day. Over here, my cursor is something's happening there too. Then when we get where A is, it's a bright white ball. It couldn't be any more flat and white. So we're going to look at the enhanced version. It washes out the white ball, but we're going to look at more versions where I pull it back out. Anyway, right on this one, I want to concentrate on letter B. B.1, we're zooming in with more enhancement. And, just see the character of this. Even though I kind of blasted out the brightness and stuff, these still hold pretty true. Even looks like a triangle hiding in there, pure form of one. And then we get this elongated, rectangular, shadowy form happening beyond there too. And we start to see this is, developing to something, looks like something's flying up this way. And we still have this kind of fuzzy interdimensional nature of something that looks like it's kind of phasing forward. Anyhow, we're going to look at this with more enhancement. Okay, so upper left again for reference is what I'm looking at. And again, here's that bright white point of that quote-unquote sun. I'm calling it second sun. But anyway, we're just taking a look at the letter B, characters here. And, whether this is several shapes cloaking in one overall form or one, with cloaking material flying over it, I'm not sure. At a certain point, it doesn't matter. I just know something's cloaking back in there. And here too, there's a darker form, and something looks like it's cloaking here beyond as well. All right, now here we're going to get to that second sun part. So I don't think you can be any more obvious than that. We're looking at the original in the lower left-hand corner. And, I'm calling it second sun. If you look around at other Earth and Sky observation channels on YouTube, I always recommend that you do that anyway to help kind of put the story together for yourself. People like us are directly observing these anomalies or strange things happening in the skies all over the world, so it's a good idea to have a look around. In this case, we've got a brighter supposed sun source happening beyond, that bright glare. Again, that's an artificial sun or solar simulator, something of that nature. I highly recommend you look around too if this is all new terminology to you. I covered on other shows as well. The essence of it is this is not our natural sun. Natural sun of decades past would be pulsing slightly and of a yellow golden color. This is white and glaring, and at times you can barely look at it. That is not a natural sun. But in this case, regardless of what it is, that's supposed sun shining beyond, and yet we have a pure white circle in the front. So I've talked about this, and we'll go to 8.2. There it is. You can't deny that. Here's the other body of light source, and then there's this thing. And so I have covered it on other shows. What could that be? So is this just a projector, an artificial light system? Is it a celestial body, that orbits around the so-called sun? What is that? Now, the more that I look at it, and you have crisp edges happening all around it, I'm leaning toward that's artificial tech. or it could be an artificial body, orbiting the supposed sun. Anyway, do have a look around and come up with your own conclusions. Just letting you know what I'm seeing. All right, we're going to look at it again just to show you this really is a separate entity here at 8.3, that pure circular form or near pure circular form, and then the shining light source beyond. So there we go. That's in no case the sun. I'm here to tell you that 100% surety with that certainty. Here we go. Second suns and objects. This is looking to the west and a slightly different view of things. So, to the human eye, I could see a bright point of light here and a separate ball here. It won't really emerge as clearly as I saw it, but definitely a spherical shape here and here, so two separate ones. So that's why I'm calling A and B. We're going to take a look at that with some more enhancement soon. And then C, we've got other light source happening here, bright white, and looks very much like some type of cloaking craft activity happening there. So we look at it with some enhancement, and here we go, 8.1. You got the shadow line of that one ball I was seeing. Here's the shadow of the other ball I was seeing. And then here we start to see like crystalline structure coming down in here. Not sure if something's cloaking in these darker clouds or if they're just hiding something cloaking beyond. But definitely look, this is hiding something happening here. And it's bright white on its own, so amidst some gray while everything else is either dark or bright far below. So what's going on in this little pocket here? So we're going to look at the A and B again a little closer. So there you see that sphere 1, sphere 2, and something else happening over here. It could be even more bodies than just that. And then here we're looking at that C, at whatever is emerging, and I couldn't really get out too much more. It's a little bit mappy, but still you can see something's going on right in here and even down in here. Okay, this is called Strange Cloud in quotes activity, Panorama. So this is now looking to the north, and the bottom photo is the original, the top is the enhanced version. And what was interesting here was just the pattern work going on. So this is like splaying out in a wide wedge formation, but it had some intricate patterning going on in here. So I really wanted to look at it in the enhanced view as above, and this time I took the color out just to really get a good look at it. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Hang on, I'm trying to grab the cursor. Okay, so here just some interesting pattern work started developing with seemingly, structure to it. We've got like, something on axis here and something crossing it perpendicular. We've got a hole here. Just the whole assembly just looked really off to me. And then we've got a bright burst of light happening in here. But anyway, we'll take a look at this in other views neighboring that view and see what's going on. So this one is just called Strange Cloud in quotes activity and objects. So here we go. At first glance you might not see much, but you got to really start looking. So what's odd about this one is we've got these striations of whatever cloud or whatever activity it is going this way, and they're parallel, and they're a little bit broken, but they still have the same movement. Then if you really look beyond, and you'll see this better in enhanced view in a second, we've got a darker body, shadow of something that looks like a orb or like a lemon shape. Something's going on in here. And then we get these rays of light happening beyond, and to me I'm suspecting that that's a little bit artificial of something happening, to do with this bigger shadowy figure at letter A, because this is pretty radiant up here, and the burst of light really is way down here. And then we have this little standalone quote-unquote cloud doing its own thing where nothing else is doing that in the whole scene. So we're going to look at this with some enhancement, and here we go. You can really see the shadow of that egg-like or lemon-like figure, or orange, whatever you want to call it. And then we have this, look at this radial burst coming out, and nothing else is doing that in the sky. So I do think that that's an energy signature that's coupled with this thing at 8.1. Then we have B.1. Look at the signature here. It's picking up some warmer tones from off to the lower left, and it's just doing its own thing. And there's a little separate little chunk here. So I'm really kind of suspicious that something's going on in here in terms of cloaking craft. And in these bands, I'm not sure what's happening. But anyway, just take a look on your own. Also, I forgot to mention, if you see other things happening in any given photo, I just flag and highlight certain things to keep a short and tight running time on the show. But if you see something that I've missed or didn't call out specifically, or did for a second but you want to know more and see more enhancement on something, just kindly let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to address that in a future show. All right, here we go. This is called Strange Tracks Activity, Panorama. The bottom is the original, the top is the enhanced version. So look at this. I mean, we've got near parallel, like concentric arcs happening here, and pretty well formed. I've never seen clouds do this. You know, that's like what a rainbow does, not clouds. And then up at 8.1, you know, I just put some enhancement to see what's going on. And we see some interesting bodies, shadow bodies happening within these lines. So I'm going to say right away up here, that's Cloaking Craft happening. Also the choppy nature of the clouds above, again, what I call staccato clouds. Choppy and blurry a little bit tells me that there is some type of object up there, craft or otherwise, that is creating electromagnetic wave activity or other type of frequency disturbance in the atmosphere. Then we're going to look at, I'm going to toggle back. We're just looking at this little area because there's that darker shadow body happening, and you can kind of make it out here with the striations happening in front of it. So let's take a better look. So again, we've got this band moving up, and then this thing looks like it's diving down, like a big elongated teardrop shape. And again, we have weird light sources and movement happening up here. So we're going to look at it with some enhancement. And here we go. You can see the shadow line, you know, coming down this way. Looks like it's diving down to me. And then we have other shadowy bodies hiding in this stuff. I can't really get at it too much more, but you can tell something is going on. And possibly back in here too. But look at the nature, how choppy all this cloud is and fuzzy. And then we've got a weird, you know, light source happening back here above, you know, and it's kind of bisected by just like normal blue sky in the background, and then all of this bright golden light. And then here's the sun supposedly setting here in the lower left-hand corner. So anyway, see what you think is going on up here above. I definitely am going to call that as Cloaking Craft or objects happening up in there. Okay, this is also more of strange cloud activity. And now this, if you look to my cursor, lower right-hand corner is where those tracks were. And now we're looking to the left or toward the south. As we go left, to the right is more toward the west. And anyway, we just see, you know, a strange, again, kind of movement. You know, this is kind of radiating out from a specific point. To me, that means this whole thing is artificially generated. But anyway, we're just going to look at some of the patterning and the light bursts, you know, happening within this thing. Just caught my attention. And then here in the lower right, you just see that little object again floating that we were looking at before. And this time that little chunk has moved from the right over to the left. And this looks pretty like a pretty clear form, so I'm going to call that Cloaking Craft. All right, more strange cloud and quotes activity. This one we're kind of going to just focus on letter A up at the very top because I saw some clear circular forms here. Saw some here too, but really the circular forms popping out up here plus these concentric waves, you know, and lines happening here in parallel caught my attention. So we're going to look at that. So 8.1, you definitely see something of odd characters forming here. There's a bright white point where my cursor is, almost like something's kind of pushing out, you know, like if you had an object or a finger inside of a balloon, an inflated balloon, and you push toward the membrane of the balloon, you would kind of get a point pushing out. That's what I see. Also, you know, there's some strange character and texture happening in these brighter clusters down below. But I'm going to leave this one to you to see if you can see anything in more detail. And if you come up with any fun conclusions or anything even more serious and want to discuss it, also feel free to put that down in the comment section below. All right, this one is more strange cloud activity and color signatures. So we're going to look at A on the left-hand side is the original photo. And not only do I, you know, was looking at some of this where we have this movement coming down on a diagonal, but also this little chunk down here at letter A. So we're going to look at the right at enhanced photo and look at this strange movement. Staccato activity, again, atmospheric disturbance caused by something up above, whether it's electromagnetic wave activity or other types of frequency signals, I'm not sure. And then we look at this movement. These things are like coming down. I do believe this is some type of craft, maybe interdimensional cloaking or otherwise coming in. Look at this band of bright light on this straight angle coming down. And look down here, there's nothing that bright happening. This is all golden, if anything. So to me, this whole thing screams like there's some type of craft or multiple craft happening in there, even in this thing. And then down here, look at this little chunk. It's so perfect, you know, and its edges. It's got to be craft. And even over here, you just see a bright white point. And like I said, anytime I see bright white amidst a solid background of other color or gray scale stuff, it means usually there's some type of craft, whether it's a sensor or you know, a vehicle or whatever, but something going on that doesn't otherwise belong in the natural sky. Okay, now here's another view of looking north at that same kind of sky, and Again, it looks kind of choppy and disturbed with kind of white points popping up in a regular pattern on an arc. That's what caught my attention here. And echoing again down here. So we're going to look at the right-hand side, and we're going to look at letter A. Sorry, I didn't mention that here, because it's all kind of a curve emerging there too. 8.1, we got this dark shadow coming down on a sharp angle, and then a dark shadow going straight out horizontal. So to me, that's craft, because natural cloud does not move on an angle and then move again at an opposite angle. And then we have this arc of kind of more white light, and so to me, that's a cloaking craft happening beyond there. And then look, we have a similar shape. If you see that shape, it's kind of like a pointed ellipse. It almost looks like an empanada or a turnover, if you know what those are. And it's happening down here as well. And again, kind of that light pattern happening on the top rim, a little bit on the bottom. So to me, these are two different cloaking craft happening. And there's other stuff happening, down below and beyond. So see what you think is going on. All right, this one, more strange cloud activity and color signatures. So in this scene at A, I just see this sharp, straight, even line happening in the cloud with some little cloud material floating in front of it. So it caught my attention. Also, how we have a spot of color here in the background and a spot tint over here. That tells me that's like two independent light sources, because the light just wouldn't, hop in one circle and then to the other. So we're going to look at it with some enhancement. And to my surprise, I thought I was just going to see a ball of warmer signature pop up here and here. But wow, it really popped up all over the place. So again, given the staccato nature, choppy and fuzzy nature of all this cloud activity, combined with the strange color signatures and where they're occurring, tells me it's cloaking craft or objects going on in there. And also look here. This dark purple line, starts to form a triangle with this fuzzy stuff in front of it. Just looks like it's trying to mask that. And then this is like a pure circle. So I don't know if that's the end of a tube or cylinder or just turbulence forming that circle, but it's like a near perfect circle. So anyway, there's a lot to kind of wonder at in this photo, let's just say. Also, we get the bright white burn points, streaking down this way. When again, down in the distance, the sunset is more golden in nature, and a burst of white light up here too. So I don't know, just to me, that is screaming craft activity up there. Okay, then here's another one, strange cloud activity and shapes. So once again, how do we get something that's either pitching severely down an angle or up, depending on how you want to look at it? And then we have something purely horizontal. And again, it was not a windy day. Anyway, that could stir things up and anyhow create a sharp angle this way and then horizontal. And then look at this edge. It's like a near perfect right angle here, and we can't tell what's going on over here. This looks like a triangle on edge. Anyway, look at this weird little thing dropping down, and again, something horizontal while this dog leg's straight up at a right angle. Anyway, all of this just screams something is going on. So we're going to look at this with enhancement. This time I'm taking the color out just to look at it in a new way. And, look at this. We get a real good look at that with this very clear, distinct object coming directly perpendicular down. So come on, that's got to be cloaking craft. And if it's not, by all means, let me know what you think that could possibly be. And also we have a pure triangular form here in, silhouette. So, that's tech of some type. It's, again, man-made, human-made, or ET-made something. And then we have brighter light points, popping up out of this whole assembly. But see what you think is going on. All right, we're going to look at it one more time, a little zoomed in. So here's that triangle I was seeing. There's a straight line going this way. Get a really bright pop of a white crystalline form there too. Here's this, what I was saying is right angle, near right angle behind here and here. This thing coming straight down. Again, some more crystalline white points happening here too. And remember what I said about those. And so, pure white happening at different little points. So anyway, once again, calling it cloaking craft. All right, here we're going to look at letters A and B, and we're going to get to the enhanced version right away. So look at A1, 8.1, that's a triangular shape, and it looks like it's zoomed down with a trail of smoke or plasma or whatever coming behind it. And then B1 looks like another odd little triangular-like form with some cloaking material or plasma, floating in the front. And this too, triangular in form. And even this, in a way, there could be something hiding in there. So I'm calling that cloaking craft in that cloud activity. And this will be the same thing. This one gets very interesting. We're going to look at A, B, C, and D. I'm going to hop to the enhanced version because it's much more fun. And take a look. Bam, here we go. 3 distinct objects up here and something down here as well. Very interesting, and I mean, I think you have to see that's a triangle. Pure triangles do not happen in the sky in nature, at least not in those many decades that I've lived on this planet, but yet they're there now, so it's got to be some type of tech. Here's D.2. We're going to look in. That was that little blob at the bottom. But what I want to show here is then there's this straight line. Looks like a rocket or something with a fin coming down. So we're going to look at this with enhancement. And look at it, looks pretty solid with some floating, cloaking material drifting in front. What's going on there? So it looks like this thing just was hiding in here and just decided to launch out this way on an angle. And something seems to be emerging or flying down into this. I'm not sure. See what you think is going on. This one is kind of in that same cluster, but it's morphing and changing at this point. And we're going to look at A, this little kind of elliptical object here. And B, look at this. It's like a puzzle piece. This little two little legs on angle here and two little legs on angle here, fitting in together in a different way. And there are also some shapes. There's a right angle here. I suspect that some stuff's going on in here. So we're going to look at this with enhancement. And here we go. Again, this looks very object-like. Something over here too looks object-like it's hiding in here. And then we get these weird little, sticks poking out, one at that angle, one at that angle, one at this angle. It's just all very strange. Also, look at the color signature. We get a pop of red here. It's just, the whole scene is very strange. And then here's those two little puzzle pieces I was talking about. They're like fitting together almost like a jigsaw puzzle. Little object here and like a downturned, what do I want to say? Obtuse triangle happening down here. And then we're going to look at that triangle a little bit more, plus that A.2. Here's that triangle again. Looks like it's kind of diving down. In the enhanced version, you really see it. And again, just little strange things happening all over the place with this figure. But I invite you to look at this whole scene a little more on your own time, see what you start to see in it. Okay, and here's another view of the triangle with some cloaking material coming in front of it, drifting in front. And you see it over here much more clearly. It's symmetrical. Looks like intelligent design because it's symmetrical and mirrored, it's the same. So to me, that's just not a haphazard cloud. All right, this gets interesting too. More strange cloud activity. This is at a looking east towards sunset, and everything's drifting along like this. It looks choppy and fuzzy, but then we get this burst of vertical activity. So to me, how do you get a cloud that does this? It almost looks like fox ears or cat ears and elongated face. But how do you get something going straight up and down when everything else is, moving along near horizontal? And here's some an enhanced view, so you just get a look at this thing. It's so strange. There's a hole in it, and then we get some crystalline kind of forms popping up little places along the way. Anyway, this just has to be some type of cloaking object activity, whether it's just this thing down at the bottom or if there are a few things hiding in here, I'm not sure. But otherwise, what the heck is this thing? This even looks like an appendage or an attachment onto this with a very specific shape. See what you think is going on. Okay, this one gets interesting as well. This huge, massive cloud in a wedge shape just started moving from the east to the west, and it maintained its integrity as it moved along, and it just felt like there was some type of massive craft up in there or several independent craft. It just had that feeling about it. And then we look off to the side and look at this pure line arcing off, like either that's a track made into this thing or I don't know what. So we're going to look at it with some enhancement. And here we go. Look at this. We get at specific shapes happening in here. Not sure what's offshooting in here. And then look at that line, and there seems to be something kind of illuminated at the top of it that has some shape and dimension to it. There's even something kind of splintering off this way. So we're going to look at it. Oh, and down here, this looks like a circular, like the end of a pipe or cylinder popping up this way. So I'm calling that's Cloaking Craft in there. And then we're going to zoom in on this point. And again, we just see this dark trail. It looks like a triangular shape in here. Some dark mass in here as well. So again, just take a look on your own, see what you see is going on in the scene, and see what you think. Also down here I see regular spacing. Looks like it has some, intelligent design to how those are laying out as well. This is interesting. Here's that cloud mass again, and it just moved very calm and cool, across the sky toward the west. And then when I really enhanced it and blew out the contrast and brightness on it, look at this. We have like an elongated shape hiding in there. We have a triangular form too. So is this just a mass concealing a bunch of different objects? I think so. Anyway, it's very interesting. Have a look on your own when you have some more time. All right, and this one is more strange cloud activity. The left is the original, the right is an enhanced version. And just what caught my attention was look at all this kind of staccato cloud activity, but then we have a nice even triangle forming with the more denser parts of it. And then also just some of these striations, some of these echoing lines that are parallel, and then totally different nature of this lower, gray cloud activity. And it was kind of concealing brighter white clouds and traveling together with them. They weren't traveling separate, so that was also kind of strange. So we're looking at on the right-hand side with some enhancement, and again, just kind of seeing some patterns forming. Again, that, better look at that triangular form. Just a very odd overall assembly. And then look even beyond. This is yet another type of cloud. And you just wouldn't have 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5 different types of clouds happening all in the same exact vicinity, very local overhead. So it's just, something's odd happening there. Okay, kind of similar as far as all the different kinds of clouds happening at once in the same vicinity. This was moving in very choppy and staccato. This is very, loosely held together. Almost, it's not smoke, but it has that feel. And then you have something trying to be more like a cloud, but it's not. These aren't cumulus clouds. These are artificial, concoctions. And here you start to see like a teardrop, or there's a better shape for it. Maybe you can come up with it. But, on its side, this body in triangular form happening here. So we're going to look at this overall scene with some enhancement. Here we go. Kind of fly through this because I think I have a few views of this. So again, you see this more almond-shaped body that's dark with this kind of plasma stuff floating over the front. And look at this long tail drifting straight down. It's just strange. Again, how do you have a vertical movement and then a horizontal? That's what I always look at. And yes, you have it with things called thunderheads and big cumulus clouds, but that's usually a massive collection or, assembly of cloud material. It's not just a very specific one up here and across here, like a T-bar. Then again, we've got display of strange, cloud activity right in the same vicinity. So we're going to look at 8.2, zooming in on that shape on its side. Then we also start to see a triangle form here in the darker, color, and actually an imprint beyond it echoing. And so we're going to look at that with enhancement. You can see what I'm saying. Look at this line and this line are parallel. That looks like an imprint of a triangle, and then like a, cloud or plasma form chunks of it happening in the front. But that's a clear line coming down. And then we have bright white points trying to pop out of bits of color, so that tells me something's going on in there. It could be a skip over from whatever light source is happening here, but when it's just a singular point, it tells me there's probably something more to it than that. Anyway, we've got this cascade of cloaking material coming over this darker body. Then we've got but we've got a point here, like as of a triangle. If you look at the profile of this, the top rim, look how jagged it is with all these little points. So again, how does that happen in a natural cloud? It doesn't. And here too, here's a shadow of a triangular form. So to me, this is multiple types of cloaking going on. There's another triangle down here. Let me know what you think. This one's really interesting too. Look at this weird cloud form in quotes. Look at this thing. So it looks like it has a point, and then it curves on the top, and then has like another type of point, and it's a very wedge shape on its own, popping out of nowhere, and all this other kind of cloud or vapor activity happening in front of it. In the enhanced view, it looks real interesting too. Look at this. Look at this. It's a curve. It almost looks like I'm going to be biased here for a second, but it looks like a panther head. So you got the top curved with an ear here, and then the elongated face down below. But very interesting. I don't think you can look how smooth that edge is and how symmetrical. That's got to be an artificial creation of some type and a cloaking craft or object. And speaking of weird cloud forms, look at this thing. So right off the bat, looking at the left side, it's the original to the southwest. It's popping up just local on the spot out of nowhere. So come on, and look how big it's welling up and very fast. And I could make out this pink tone or hue into the distance. So to me, this thing was popping up local to cover the fact that there was a pink sphere, beyond. And look at it, it's symmetrical. We've got these billowing rounded parts. It pushes up into like an evergreen tree shape. And look to the right with enhancement. Here's that pink glow I was talking about that I could even detect to the human eye. Of course, the camera phones like I'm using pick up a greater range of photosensitivity, so I love these things when we go into contrast because they really pick up what's going on in the sky in terms of wave activity and color signatures. Anyway, look at this thing. So it just, there's nothing natural about this cloud, you know. And look at the top. You know, it's a pyramid or a triangular shape, clear triangular shape, like an arrowhead. And there's something happening strange beyond here too. Anyhow, just, you know, the color signatures, also not only the pink beyond, it kind of skips into the front. So what's going on with this thing? That's the question of the day. All right, and this is just called Massive Pink Sphere, Sky Glow, East at Sunset. So we're looking east at sunset. Nothing was happening to the west, diametrically opposed to this horizon to create a ball-like shape of pink and to cast that glow. So this is coming from the east horizon itself. If we look at A, that's just my marker to just show this general massive area. And here you go. Now, the massive area of pink glow is really up above here where my cursor is. But when we put the contrast and other things to get to the essence of what's going on, we see that something is higher concentration here and then welling up and casting up this way. So that was very interesting. And going back to it, what that could be, I put some ideas in the description box below. And again, do look at other Earth and skywatching channels to see what other things are being captured and what those conclusions are, and then make up your own conclusion of what you think is happening in our skies today. All right, well, this is the photo of the week and the close of the show. Actually, that is my shadow, a nice big, tall, elongated shadow with a very glaring artificial sun behind me. But anyway, I want to say thank you for standing by here a while. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and thank you for, you know, watching and kind of pondering some of these things with me today. It is Wednesday, so I wish you the rest of a beautiful week ahead. Actually, you might already be into Thursday. But anyway, the rest of the week may be beautiful for you. And in the meantime, I just wish you tremendous peace and love. Take care, everyone. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.